few questions and also some what I sense and feel, some need for more clarification. First on how to be remunerated and how to also proceed with creating a quest or a role and where to find your place. So my suggestion would be that we go into the board, what you have done already last time. And I put some notes there already where I see probably, you know, how and where you could create your roles or quests, but we can then talk about it. And then you can also raise your hands and ask questions. And then we dive into the further creation in the breakout rooms. So if that's fine for everyone, then I would continue around that because it's easier to answer questions on examples than talk in abstract form. So I will share my screen and I will show you again because I'm not so sure whether everyone has seen it already. Yeah, now it's working. This has to go away. So much on my computer. So what I want to first bring into your attention quickly is the movement building. And I will move to a different map. Oh, this is always what happens when I play with these maps and somebody else is coming in, David. So let me see. Oops. Show you this. Oops. Bigger, smaller. So can you all see this? Irina, can you give me a sign? Is that on your screens as well now? Okay.
It's visible. You can just put it to the full screen as we are seeing off of your background screen.
Yes, sometimes I'm really not good with moving stuff around on my screen, so that's the problem with me. And that's easier for me to navigate in that way. I hope that's fine. So the only thing I wanted to bring into attention again, I think I showed that last week, but we already talked in the movement building circle yesterday around it and kind of formalized these subcircles we have right now. So they're not like official formal developed subcircles, but it's the working groups, and that's why we call them subcircles we have implemented already in movement building. So when you're now sensing a calling to co-create with us in the movement building circle, those would be the areas where there's already subcircles in place. And we are right now in the movement building circle ourselves, going deeper into the question, what is the purpose of each different subcircle? What are the different accountabilities? What are the different people who are part of it? So you can see, Swami, your name is here on the events and festivals subcircle because you were part of this circle already. And although we didn't have any calls in the last 2 months, we're just kind of reinventing it somehow into life. And yeah, so that was the first thing I wanted to show you, but then I want to go over to the board, what you have created. So are there any questions around the subcircles? Maybe I can answer that first.
So like what is called facilitators, these are roles called facilitator.
So right now, how it's working, there's a badge in the Haifa do created for a facilitator, which is not what we mean right here, that can develop into that. But what we have is a system in the movement building circle where we say we now have to come to a term. I don't know how I do this. It's not working the way I want to work it. Let me concentrate first on answering your question. So what you already realized probably also in co-creating together in the Ambassador Academy, or for example in Samara, is you have new people coming in all the time, and you also have sometimes people leaving the circle and moving forward. So you need to, sometimes we call them lamplighters. So in the core circles like movement building or product circles, whatever, we have them called lamplighters, and that's also a badge. But in the subcircles, we cannot call them lamplighters because it would be a different badge. So we can call them stewards or facilitators, but we want to have 2 people in each circle, which are like the constant sense and coordinator, sense making and coordinator, sense making collectors and coordinator. And then when we have the structure of the meetings, for example, our movement building working alignment call, which now will happen always Tuesdays, there will always be only the facilitators so that we get stuff done. And there will also be a sense making call, which is Mondays, where everyone is invited to voice what's going on. But we need a little bit more of a structure to also operate this. Otherwise, we will always have meetings and have a lot of check-ins and a lot of sense making and stuff. So we're right now also, it's, you know, also in movement building, it's still a development and an experiment how we can create together best. And as also the movement building circle is growing, we need to find more structure in this. So yesterday we had the agreement that we will have these subcircles for now, and then we will now elaborate in the next 2 weeks who will be the facilitators. So the facilitators need to show up in this movement building alignment call to share with us what's going on in the subcircles, so that we all have an understanding across all subcircles what's going on. I hope that answers a little bit. And it's not yet linked to an official badge, and it's also not yet linked to an official role. It's something the members of the subcircles are doing as part of their role. So for example, you can be a movement weaver, or you can be a lead ambassador, and you can still be the facilitator for this working group. Do you want to add something, Irina, or is that? No, okay, cool.
That's okay. I was just seeing in the chat, Christoph saying that he doesn't have access to the board. I don't know what's happening.
No, it's okay now. So it's
okay, great. And if you want help, Danny, I can share my screen with the board while you are talking, so we can.
Yeah, maybe it's easier because you can see I'm really having a little bit of problems finding the right position of the wall. So if you can share.
Yeah, I can share.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Irina.
Will you enable, please, sharing? Will you enable?
Yeah, you should be able now. So we have 30 minutes left and really minding the time. And I think everyone enjoyed the breakout room so much. I don't want to spend too much on talking about this before we lose too much time and cannot play. So what you see here in the board, what I did is in the green ones on the very right, I put the idea of feeling where I think your role or your contribution where you want to play would be located best right now in the movement building. That doesn't mean that it's 100% correct, because the draft of your post does maybe not give enough information of, you know, what you want to do and how you want to play. And I also made some more in red notes, which says that either there's already something going on, or we need a little bit more clarification for that. So the process where I would now really like you to elaborate more together is figuring out really where do you think you want to co-create? Like, is it really a circle? Is it maybe founding a new project, founding a new circle, playing more in the Samara do than in movement building? And maybe we can create the breakout rooms in a way that, for example, if Paolo is here and Sanjay is here and Irina is here, that we create these breakout rooms so that you have people who can answer questions from the movement building side into the breakout rooms if you have questions. I also really love that Sven started this big mind map, and also Fabi followed his example. I just wonder whether that's the right exercise for everyone right now, because what I try you to encourage is to find a specific task, because I know I'm also the same. I would like to play with everyone everywhere all the time. So I totally also know the feeling of missing out and wanting to play everything. But what we need is that you find a position or place or role where you say, okay, I will start with this one and start co-creating in this subcircle with the people. And you can, for example, say you only want to do it for one lunar cycle and try it out, and then extend your contribution or your role in that circle. Better than, you know, starting in different ones at once, because you already have this feeling of overwhelm, which I agree to. We all have that. So I think the task what we have more is really to condense it and find a place where we can start and be of value. And then if we feel like, okay, I can take on more, I want to elaborate other topics as well, then you can create a second role or second quest or something. But I would recommend, at least from my position, to simplify it for yourself in the beginning and elaborate, and from there maybe make it more complex. So that's kind of my suggestion. So yeah, the question here really to everyone is, I don't want to talk all the time, is there any specific question around ones of your proposal or post-its or something what I can also answer in the whole group, or do you think it's a better idea to go into the small groups directly? Maybe just anyone who feels called voices his or her feeling, and then we can see where we go from here.
It might be helpful to get some more information about how quests are formed or proposed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you, Sven. I have also posted in the deck in the tribes, but I can post the link here again for the form. We have created a form where you can put in your quest or your role. Maybe Irina, can you help me find it quickly? It's in the tribes. I posted it there and posted in the chat. Thank you. So you could start by filling out that form, and then you can come to next week. We will start the movement building Tuesday, where it's in the beginning more like an informal explorative playground session where you can all come with your proposals, and we will answer your questions. We will help you adapt it to a formal role or formal quest. And then it will be also voted in the movement building circle. So similar to the Haifa process, but not exactly the same, because in Haifa you put it on a do and it's just one very short presentation in the Tuesday, and then you have to vote for it. We will have a little bit more stretch. So similar to the process with the proposal nursery and the proposal proposals with purpose session. So we really invite you to, if you want to create a quest or a role, that you use this form. You can always reach out to us if you have additional questions, but it would help to just show up in this meeting, always happening now Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Central Europe time. And then we can discuss the different proposals there. I feel that's a really good first step in a process. Does that help, Sven? Cool. Thank you for posting the doc link, Justin.
Yeah, then a sure thing, if people will find it useful, I can post a link with my quest for the first quest I did, and the steps that I put there, which is 2 steps, but you will see it. So there are 2 pages. You need to look at both pages. I will put the link here.
Yeah, and we can maybe also find 1 or 2 more different examples which we can post. Definitely, that's a good idea, Irina. Thank you. I think one really important thing what I want to highlight is that for those who haven't heard yet, you look at the milestones, you look at the objectives of movement building, and then you create your proposal, always having in mind that you first create a proposal for a quest or a role, and only if that's voted for, then you can apply to assign for it. So it doesn't mean if you propose a role or a quest that you will be also already automatically be assigned for that role. It's a 2-step process. That's really important, because it needs to, bring this understanding of, we look at what does the circle need, what does seats need, and then do we need a role for that? Do we need a contribution or quest for that? And if that's voted through by our members of the circle, then everyone can apply for this. So sometimes we have, for example, now you can see we have a new role on the DHO. It's called DHO Catalyst. And it says that there's a room for 5 full-time positions as a DHO Catalyst for the future. And now people can assign for it, for example, for only 40% or 50% to apply for this role, right? So it's also maybe a new form for you how to create these roles and also apply for it, because it's this at least 2 steps process. And Paolo just posted a beautiful link in the chat with proposals on payout with a lot of information how it's done right now. And also what we are going through, maybe good information from you, but it's still in the process. So we are talking about what's happening in the future versus what we can do right now. So what's now being discussed in Haifa is that in the future, the movement building, for example, as a circle, but also every other circle, will have its own budget for its own voting for roles and quests and everything. So in the future, we don't even have to go to Haifa anymore, but we can decide in the movement building whether, for example, we want to have universal earned income roles for ambassadors to do the work with us, which doesn't have to be a proper role or quest specifically for one task. So that's in development, just to give you an understanding that we're already also discussing that. And that's, for example, part of the DHO development subcircle. Also the whole, like what Dimitri was talking about, but also I know that Fabi and Sanjay and Paolo and others are interested here, you know, the question how we can in local areas create new DHOs, or in local areas, bioregional areas, how we can do the work on the ground. That's also part of the DHO development subcircle. So is there any more questions? I would say we just go into the different groups then. I set up the breakout rooms, and then you can always call me into the breakout rooms, and I'm very happy to then also answer questions in the breakout rooms. And if you're as lucky to have, for example, Irina or Paolo already in the breakout rooms, then they can help you. And also Christoph knows a lot around this. So I will try to set up the breakout rooms in that way. But as long as I'm doing this, you can still ask your questions. So we have 4. David has to leave, I guess. No, Sanjay was leaving. 8, 12, 16, 17 people. So let's do 4 rooms and see. We have to move. Sorin is also there. I don't know whether Sorin can answer questions or whether Irina no. Okay, so we have to move Sorin. We move Paolo here. Now a little bit complicated, sorry. Move Sorin to...
I have a quick question before we jump in. Do we have dedicated task?
The task is that you create your, you know, in the mirror board, we asked, how do you want to contribute? So what could be your expertise or your competence you think you can bring, and or where do you want to play because it's your interest or your field you also want to elaborate? 2 less time, I know. I don't know how we want to do it. So my suggestion would be that in this breakout rooms either you want to, let me see, we have another call. I could leave that room here open for those who want to play a little bit longer. I will leave and I can make Fabi, for example, if you want to stay. I don't know whether people at least really have time to stay. So one suggestion could be you stay and play longer, or another suggestion, maybe even better, is in the smaller groups or in the tribes you make a session with yourself again and play a bit with it, and you know, form smaller groups to create your proposals or something. So kind of organize yourself in the way you want to organize this yourself. So there's no pressure. You don't have to do that, but if it helps to come together, and then maybe just the ones who feel a little bit more called can make a suggestion for a team Zoom link or whatever. And then we can discuss that in, for example, the Global Ambassador call, which is happening on Thursday morning Central Europe time this time. So it's also good for Swami and other Asian people to join. And we also have the new ambassador onboarding on Thursday. Yeah, so that's my offering, that we can, if you have more questions and everything around that, talk about it in a Global Ambassador call, or we can just have another session. And then, yeah, maybe we put it after another session, so we have already done the check-in and that day, so we can dive into working directly. Just my feelings around it. But I want to give you all the floor to at least maybe say one word as a checkout. I have asked for 5 more minutes. I can stay with you and then join the other call 5 minutes later. And maybe you can just share with me your feeling right now, what do you have in your mind? Maybe one word, popcorn style.
I would jump in and say it would be, I think, helpful to have another call and maybe look at like the format. I mean, I need to look at that link that you shared, but maybe do a quest together, do like a quest all together and see how that feels. And for my checkout word, I will say productive, because it was productive today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sven. Good suggestion. How about Fabi? Fabi, what's going on?
Yeah, appreciate that that suggestion also, and yeah, love the smaller group work, and so motivated. David.
Yeah, building the relationship with my fellow colleagues here. So I would say in the way to connect. Martina.
Grateful. Dimitri. You're muted.
My word is abundance, and I'm giving word to Christoph.
My word will be small.
And who do you pass it
to? Katie.
I just typed mine. I'm feeling blessed unrest. I'm not sure who hasn't gone, so let's do popcorn. Whoever's wants to jump.
Justin, maybe?
I said integration, and thank you all.
Chocolate.
Can you say again, Diana?
Chocolate.
Thank you. My word is together, and I'm passing on to Paulo.
I would second Dimitri's word of abundance, and I pass it to Sven.
I think I already went.
Yeah. Pass it on.
Martina. No, wait, Martina went. Victoria.
I think motivated is the word comes to my mind. Thank you. And I don't know who hasn't been. So.
Did everyone say something? I also lost. Was a little bit chaotic. I love it. My word is love. I really love creating. I really love being with humans, and really what we're doing here is amazing. So thank you all for being here, and see you all in 3 hours, right? So we have a call with Joost, who is an amazing being, and he's in New Zealand. He offered to join us to share a little bit of his wisdom, what he also brings into Haifa and also into the movement building, but he definitely wanted to share a session for the Academy. So I'm super grateful he's coming, and if you can make it, it will be a wonderful experience for you. So I hope to see you in 3 hours. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Hasta pronto.